What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the 2014 North American Challenger Series Summer Finals. Game 2 between Curse Academy and Team 8 is just about to get underway. Curse Academy right now leading at 1-0, meaning 4-0 for Curse today.
Maybe
Curse
they'll make a
good.
full sweep. Who knows? It's quite possible. I mean,
Yeah.
the way that they were playing that game is something that we hadn't seen previously because they got taken. They 2-0'd LOL Pro
Right.
the other day, and I've been hearing different things about how they are very wishy-washy in the mid lane and how it doesn't always work out. But that game, it definitely worked out for them.
Yeah.
And they definitely kind of found what their strat was, what their win condition was, and played to that strength. You said that you think Impactful is the best player on this team.
He's showing it, and I think it's a popular opinion. He's an unsung hero, but he's great. His Tristana was 6-0-5. They clearly built the team comp around him, and lo and behold, they did wonderfully. He never died. He carried the team fights.
Yeah, and on the other side, though, it's Cali Trolls, who's typically regarded as the most aggressive player on Team 8's side. He went 2-3-1 and had a 1.0 KDA on Maokai, and I think he really needs to return to his roots, and not the Maokai. That's not even a pun. That was an accident. But he does need to play those tanky champions. He needs to go on a playmaking champion for himself, because that is his style. He needs to be have an aggressive laner that once you get a lead, because when you keep a Mundo down, you don't actually keep him down. He's going to scale up pretty much no matter what, unless you utterly just destroy him.
Right, you've got to basically be really mid-game focused then. We actually saw it in CLG versus Curse, where Dexter spent all of his time trying to stop Quas Nidalee. And they kept Nidalee down, but the rest of the team flourished. And so the rest of Curse carried the game, and Cop and Voidboy were awesome, and it was just like glorious and free. In this case, you spend a whole bunch of time trying to take down Dr. Mundo, and Impactful is scaling up his Tristana the entire game. When you're supposed to have this Kog'Maw who's supposed to bully at level 9 with an item lead, right? When you've got a Nami landing bubbles all game. When you've got a Yasuo with gank set up. Like, none of this is being touched in the slightest by Porpoise Pops, and I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, and that big team fight that they actually went over once again, where Maple Street wasn't a part of it, Maple Street actually had the highest damage on Team 8 by a large portion.
Yeah, he did.
And he wasn't even a part of that team fight. He was not contributing at all. So if they had him in the fight, if they had his DPS, they had his damage, that may have been different. And you saw how low Impactful was near the middle of that fight, and even when Slushy turned on it. Just having another threat that Curse Academy had to tunnel on and try to get further into the back line for would have been great, and also just the damage output in general.
And we're going to see adaptations come through right now. It's the Nunu ban actually brought against Curse Academy. Personally, I would actually want to see a Mundo ban against Chris to allow that top lane to be aggressive again. Because Mundo can't rule out the matchups. Chris is a good player, the champion. There it is, smart choice, Team 8.
This is most likely going to force Chris onto Rise.
True.
Which is his fallback champion.
But at least that's killable.
Exactly.
Like at this point you can Maokai, because Maokai can kill Rise, but he can't kill Mundo.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense here for the team coming into this, and they're going to go back to the Maokai here for Cali Trolls. You know, the Gragas is available, but they're going to opt for that instead. He has full confidence in his Maokai here.
I want to see the whole meta breaking and Maokai goes back into the jungle, and everyone like realizes, oh wait, the champion was good there the entire time. And then the predictions will come full circle. But Curse Academy will still get the Tristana for Impactful. I think it's the smart thing to pick first round. Locked in. The Zillion's still coming through for Bunny Fufu. They don't want to change that bot lane at all.
Yep, exactly the same bot lane composition here for Curse Academy. It worked in game 1. It's not broken, so they don't have to fix it.
But here's a good thing for Team 8 right now is the fact that I actually like the setup a lot. Because Curse Academy have run a double AD comp before, and to me the biggest champion to play against double AD is Ziggs himself. And Team 8 locked that in, knowing Curse Academy has last pick here. It was mid-Corki last time they ran this. I love the backline reach of Team 8. This actually helps them knock down Impactful. They can also just play big front line and push through with all the Ziggs resistant damage. I think this is a good comp so far for Team 8.
And here's the thing. Even though Yasuo is open, Slushy goes for the Ziggs because that was banned last game, and this time it was substituted out for the Kha'Zix ban against Porpoise Pops. So Slushy, he does have this wave clear champion that he actually has gotten his hands on multiple times here. He's played it 3 times just in playoffs alone. So it's a big part of that 8.7 KDA that he's currently rocking, or was rocking until last game.
Yeah, sure, and I do love the Ziggs here. I think it's the right choice overall. Evelyn will come through for St. Vicious, though. And that'll be all kinds of fun to watch for. The Invisible Gank should be plenty strong. Maple can just go right back in the Kog'Maw. I actually expect to still see Nami, by the way.
And the big thing here is Keen once again got his hands on Orianna. We've seen him on Orianna 3 out of the 4 times that we've seen him. His other game was a Corki, but his performance on that champion is extremely solid. It is one of his top 4 champions that he was playing. in Oceania, and it's the one that wasn't touched by any patch for the most part.
Yeah.
So he has full confidence on that champion, and also pairing that with Saint Vicious, who's going to have a movement speed increase. He's also going to have a movement speed increase from Bunny Fufu. He can also flank around, and it'll be like the submarine shockwave.
Yeah, Curse Academy do have really good team fight engaged. Before it was like, well, just peel for the Tristana, set up, hope team fights happen. Now actually Curse Academy have a better way to force them themselves. And I think that will be an improvement for their team comp.
They can still kite backwards with this composition.
Of course they can.
Multiple movement speed increases that will allow actually Impactful to go really hard too.
Top lane matchup.
Stack another one on top.
This is a much more defensive team fight though. This is interesting because there will be very little damage output from Curse Academy. It is entirely on Keen and Impactful right now. It is a Lulu lock-in, so it is top lane Lulu for Chris here. And even if last game was the Keen and Impactful show, this game is even more so the Keen and Impactful show. So if I'm teammate right now, you stop trying to get Cali Trolls fed and you knock down one of those two carries and itemize against the other.
Yeah, instead, when I talked about it in the first game, where I thought Porpoise Pops was going to gank bottom first at level 6, and then have Maokai TP down bottom at the same time. Like, I thought that was going to be the play for teammate and what would start getting them dragons and other objectives off of that. But that's really the type of play that they have to make in this matchup, because there's just so much on Impactful shoulders and so much that's going to try and magnify and amplify his contribution to teams.
Yeah.
The team fight.
And one thing that's going to be hard, though, is the fact that I think teammates comp works so well here. When you have individual focus supports, right? Zillion revives, Orianna shield, the Lulu single target shields as well. AoE teams crush that because all these supports are squishy. So they're all going to die to a Zigzult, and like it's Impactful left alive. He won't win a 1v4. So I think teammate have a good shot at this one, and Curse Academy have to play around it properly to win. Now the Curse Academy leads 1-0 in the best of 5. Let's see who you guys at home think will be crowned the Kings of Summer. Tweet, of course, as always, to @LOL Esports. Use either hashtag T8win or hashtag CAwin, and we will tally your votes in a few minutes.
Yeah, so get going onto the Twitter sphere. Tweet your opinion, your prediction. But a big thing here for me is that Slushy, he got Ziggs. It was banned away from him. He's had great performances on it in the past. We saw his Yasuo. Didn't have a great game on it. Instead, throws it by the wayside, says, I will go back to this champion that I have great performances on consistently. And actually, whenever he plays Ziggs, he is always the highest damage dealer on the team, and he actually plays it kind of like a burst mage. He will wait in a bush, and then he'll throw all his abilities at once onto somebody.
Something to watch for sure. Let's see if the lanes all pan out. Interesting start by Cali Trolls, by the way. Flask Pink Ward. Gotta see how sneaky that ward drop can be.
This is just taking me back to when he would play Kale and when he would play Kha'Zix in the top lane, because he's in charge of their level 1 shot calling, and he tells everybody exactly what to do. He tells them where to place a ward, what to do with it, and he started with the Pink Ward every game in the past.
Oh, wow.
And now he's going back to that. This was his Kale build. This is his Kha'Zix top build, and this is going to do it on the Maokai.
Well, Cali Trolls has not shown himself, so they don't know that there's a pink ward waiting to be used here. Soccer Ball did spot out that Chris was up there. And he Trinket wards the top rush.
Porpoise Pops knows that Saint Vicious is around because that ward came right down on top of him and off to the right.
Teammate gonna happily go through this. Defensive pink ward there at the front of the river for teammate. That was the use. Went down at 1 minute. We'll see how worth it that ward ends up being.
They threw a ward inside of the red buff too.
Smart.
But here's the lane swap coming out for Curse Academy. They're actually putting their bottom lane up in the top lane, so their AD carry and support will be here. And it looks like it might be a late invade.
This is interesting, actually. So yeah, Curse Academy are going to lane swap this. And yeah, we might see them run down to that blue buff. But the interesting thing is so much more information has been gained from the wards of teammate. Bam. Curse Academy's invade is going to get watched. Good timing on that ward. Like, how good is that, right? They know the late invade timing. Puts the ward down at 50 seconds to spot them coming down. They know it's going to be attempted here. Soccer Ball's already there as well. Like, Cali Trolls knows this level 1 by the back of his hand.
Yeah, and now he has to go and abandon that top lane and find a way to jungle as the tree.
He can do it, I believe.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and start up a camp. He might even start up the red and wait for Porpoise Pops to get there and then just hand it off to him.
And we'll have a nice equal 2-on-2 buff trade then. Porpoise going to actually walk through a ward on his way down. Cali Troll slowly starts up this camp for the teammates. And we're otherwise going to have a pretty standard sort of game right now. Both duo lanes in 2v0s.
It's actually going to be...
Very unfortunate. That ward goes down and does basically nothing there.
They take the right exit out of the jungle. They had just gone straight up top, or if they had gone out that way, they took a very aggressive way out. They went from the wolves.
What's safe?
Wrapped around.
You lane swapped. You Sakog and Nami.
Oh, yeah. It's extremely safe in the jungle.
That tells me they did not expect the lane swap, though. Just because otherwise that ward wouldn't get seen for a long time. Curse Academy now heavily winning the fan vote on Twitter. And with a game one like that, why the heck not vote that way? Slushi right now, the early push up against Keen.
It's going down pretty quickly. Oh, and it's gone.
Back to 0-0.
Look at that. Wards, consumables for Chris in the bot lane already, and they've moved Bunny Fufu down here. But it's going to actually call 4 members of Team 8 to this bot lane. And Bunny, he is going to see Cali.
Did he quite? I think the ward did for sure.
Yeah,
Ward was spotted as well. Chris is there with the defense.
Oh, here comes the gank mid, though.
Ooh, good damage early on. Slushi gonna satchel charge away, but has to burn summon or heal, and only 200 health now left on that Ziggs. Great early gank by Saint.
Yeah, doesn't have to blow his flash. Saint comes from the left side and pushes it in. And at this point, Team 8, they've got control of this jungle, though. That's about all they have going for them.
But they're not making any plays yet on Chris and Bunny Fufu, so the farm is coming in pretty securely, while Cali Trolls is still farming the jungle, so Chris is gonna grow a lead here in that matchup.
Yeah, and nobody is soaking that experience top right now for Team 8.
Exactly.
They're basically wasting minions.
That's a really big risk right now for Team 8 here. Because as much as you said, Cali Trolls talks about gank assistance, and before it was, can Vlad even jungle in the first place? The way players are playing it right now, though, is you actually sit in a duo lane largely, and the top lane are still lanes for most of the time. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with his champion diversity requirements.
We have to have a talk with him then. Go give him your thoughts.
Yep. We're seeing time bombs, though, come out on Maple Street.
Slushi getting harassed again.
And again, he does not have heal. 130 health left. Keen does have Ignite. A flash out of Ignite would kill Slushi right here. We're close to it. You can see how defensive he has to be. If Evelyn's there, he's dead. So he last hits with a C, or with a satchel charge and a Q, and runs right away. So she's going to heal up with a Chalice and a fairly useless green ward.
Yeah, Lulu can last hit very easily in this lane. In the meantime, up top though, you're going to have Cali Trolls going back up there, and here comes Saint right behind him. If he extends a little too far, there's a red buff on Saint.
Rocket jump on in. There's the damage up, but roots in towards Saint, forced to flash away. That is a second flash.
But Porpoise is here.
Saint Bitch, but here comes Porpoise Pop. Saint will flash away safely. That is a trade of summoners now.
They trade the flash, but the flash for the laner is a little more important.
What it does do, though, is it makes Evelyn afraid, though, because you can no longer get away from being ganked or getting invaded upon or failing a dive. So it might actually stop Saint from doing much more.
Yeah, that's true. As he shows up to the lanes, he doesn't have as many escape options available. Evelyn can't get over walls naturally, so is prone to invades, but I don't think Porpoise Pops will go for one.
But it does mean you have to respect Ziggs and Maokai a whole lot, because they can make your life really painful. Curse Academy's bot lane actually forced back. Right now you're seeing good harass come out from Dodo. 13 gold gained right there. It's basically a caster minion.
Impactful, level 6 for himself in the top lane, and they're going to swap it back now because they have that advantage for themselves. And Impactful will make it to this bot lane pretty much just in time to soak up this wave if they don't fast push it, but they do. They fast push it just for that reason.
All right, and look at all this.
Ooh, Dragon Claps.
Ooh, very smart. Look at that. The recalls right now already happening from teammate Curse Academy. Taking some time to put some wards down. They push back Porpoise Pops. Good ward from Keen. Looks like Saint actually wants to hold mid for a time.
They're setting up for this second round red buff, but also keeping tabs on Porpoise Pops as he gets near that level 6 area. Saint, he's going for more vision. More vision of this jungle, more vision of Porpoise Pops and what his route is.
Well, here's the thing, is they expect Nocturne to be level 6 really soon. And so if they get wards in the jungle right now, they know when Porpoise Pops is ganking.
They see him. They know that he's here. Slushy is trying to wrap around the corner. They saw Porpoise Pops come to this buff. Keen and Saint are here.
Does spell shield some of the damage, but he's still taking more from St. Vicious. Flashes, the wall cannot be chased. The Curse Academy are there in force, and they will steal this blue buff.
And Chris, he came down from the top lane as well. He's level 4, and he's still contributing to this invade. And it's a great move there by Curse Academy to secure themselves a buff at the 7-minute and 40-second mark.
Absolutely right. So beautiful play here. Keen already doing a great job in the mid lane, and St. Vicious out jungling Porpoise Pops right now. Impactful on the chase now against Dodo. Good bubble stops him back.
He's got to take the long way around. Lane got pushed as he was warding. And that's actually going to be Saint rushing straight to his second blue buff. So that he makes sure that it isn't taken or counter jungled away from him. They did ward it.
All right, so tie game though, honestly. As much as Saint's been making great moves, ooh, nice attempt. As much as there have been really, really good moves by the Curse Academy roster, I think they're largely outplaying the early game. We're not seeing it manifest very much in the gold graphs here. Will there be anything that happens off the blue buff disparity? Saint has one, Keen has one, none on Team 8.
Saint's also 6 first. Looking for a gank or his red in his jungle route. And down bottom, there is a little bit of a level disparity, like you said. There's going to be Maple Street still sitting at that 6 mark.
Let's see what we got here. Tristana still scaling up, Kog'Maw doing the same. And really like the last game, it has been a heavily control-based, very slow early game here that eventually Curse Academy just get into team fights for. That's been their style, is patiently waiting for Impactful to come online, and that has yet to be disrupted by Team 8. Dodo lands bubbles, but there's never any follow-up. Maple says his job is just to last it. Doesn't even matter what Dodo does.
Yeah, level 6 here for Porpoise Pops. Is he going to look bottom even before Dodo is 6?
I think it's... Wow, yeah, they're out-leveled in the bot lane. There's already Revive here for Bunny Fufu. This gank could very easily fail unless they go on Bunny specifically.
Trying to get in range.
He is in range. He's on a pink ward too. They know he's safe. But you can see how far back Curse Academy are playing.
Looking for the bubble.
There's
is it
the
going to land?
Nope. That bubble would have been the ulti.
And meanwhile, they actually have St. Vicious. He's looking up top to try and shut down Cali Trolls.
There's the attempt. Slow misses, but there's the ulti. Can Cali Trolls get away though? He's been knocked up by Chris, losing more and more health. Flash is down. The ulti was there. Puts the root in, but it's not going to be enough. Kill goes over to Chris. The re-engage on Bunny. Tidal Wave flashed away from Impactful is safe, but the fear is down. The ulti damage not quite enough. Bunny's going to walk away with about 30 health.
He still has his ulti on himself as well. So even if he had gotten taken out there, it wouldn't have been a kill. But look at this in the mid lane. Slushy.
Shockwave heals before the ignite. That was crucial. Slushy does stay alive, but he is low now, 200 health.
Everybody is getting bullied around by Curse Academy right now, except that bottom lane. Turn it around because Porpoise Pops putting his attention there and trying to shut down that Tristana before it gets online.
Look at that. Keen just zones Slushy away from the CS, away from the experience and life. It's pretty hard right now for the teammate members. Is that a level 8 St. Vicious now?
Yes, that is.
Absolutely crushing Porpoise in the jungle. Lizard Elder already done. Warden inventory. You just got to feel good if you're Curse Academy right now. You know you're winning this game.
Yeah, 1,300 gold lead. No dragons done just yet for this team, but Saint has been farming. He has been going to lanes. He's been taking some experience by crossing straight through them, but you don't notice that he's there because he's Evelyn.
Yeah.
Little invisible tax.
Besides, they're getting zillion passive anyway. It's not like you're going to get behind in your lanes regardless.
Exactly.
It's a good way to like focus your experience lead. All the laners stay equal. Saint's up 2 levels just by taxing invisibly. Like the government.
It's not always invisible.
That's true. There's enough zeros on it, you notice after a while. Impactful and Bunny Fufu, though, losing some health. And this is what's supposed to happen in this matchup. This is why Triforce first Cog is supposed to be so good, is you destroy the 2-on-2. You don't get that with Ruin King, though. That's why I make fun of Maple Street's build here, is it misses out on what that power spike's supposed to do.
I think he's just going for the sustain, but of course Dodo's going to help keep
He's got
healthy.
a Nami.
Exactly.
Does it regardless of his
Slushy,
teammate.
though, he's getting ganked by Saint.
Oh, Shockwave rolls him back in! Goodbye, Slushy.
He just scorpion that sucker.
That was awesome. Get over here!
Now they're going to go straight for that dragon right afterwards.
Get over here, dragon.
They just
Tamer Lulu, says Cali Trolls. Got him.
The harassment back and forth between these guys and Freak to the general populace. The Dragon being picked up here by Curse Academy. Saint, he comes in with the ball on him, and it just redirects it. Oh!
The command attack and a shockwave is so good there, too, to lead it forward.
Slushy did that pretty much as quickly as he possibly could have, but the fact that he, like, visually, like, mentally, you're sitting there thinking the ball's going to come from Orianna. You don't see it when it's on the Evelynn. And then it just comes from an angle, and you're like, oh, God, the travel time.
See, that's got to make you realize that Evelyn's there. When the ball is gone, you're like, where'd the ball go?
Where did
it's invisible.
Where did it go?
Who else is invisible? Saint Vicious.
Or he threw it off to the right side. I don't know.
I guess.
What if you just saw the ball floating there, just spinning around nothing?
Over his head. Yeah. That would be a good giveaway.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd know Saint was there if that
Why
happened.
it doesn't do that. You control your Evelyns.
I mean, as Nami, you can do that anyway, just healer.
It does happen.
Sona W reveals teammates in brush. How many ganks have you lost with Sona hitting W?
Yeah, it happens. it happens a lot.
A lot, right? Well, impactful. Plus 75 attack damage from items right here, not kind of the BF, Doran's Blades rather. He's doing nicely now, 117 CS. Ooh.
TP coming to the bot lane. Chris
Here
is there.
Chris
Here's
knocked
Dodo.
out. Dodo's got to be real careful. Two-man ulti, but he goes down to Chris right there already.
The collapse from Curse Academy. And here's the thing is they had Cali TP in, but I don't know how much they can do here. They don't have Slushy.
Well, he roots it impactful. There's the shield in from Keen, and Cali Trolls realize, whoops, outnumbered, loses his flash.
Slushy's still trying to show up to this fight, though, clearing a ward, and he's getting sectioned off.
Wow, another great shockwave. Slushy tries to get over the wall. He still goes down, and Saint is on the chase for Cali Trolls. His ulti is on cooldown as well. And now teammate stuck under the turret with nowhere to go right now.
This game, and look at that, he's going for impactful.
Good choice, Porpoise pops.
Flash.
He flashed it, but does not catch the fear.
He's not
impactful.
fast enough.
Nice knockback.
Oh, Porpoise Pops is screwed.
A little bit. I think he's going down. Chris gets another kill. 3-0-1 on the Lulu. And Curse Academy are completely out-fighting teammate.
Wow, the 4K gold lead already for Curse Academy. 15 minutes into the game, 5-0. Looking for possibly a shutout here.
Yep. The makings of a perfect game already, 15 minutes in.
Curse organization's probably really happy.
I would say so.
Both the Academy
And the graduates.
the main team.
They should like what CLG did when they had like CLG Black, CLG EU. It was CLG Prime.
Yeah.
I think it's Curse Academy and no, it's Curse Graduates. They made it out of the Academy. They're full wizards now.
Cursed Graduate School.
Sure. Oh yeah, they have like Curse PhD.
Yeah.
Dr. Voyboy.
Boy MD.
Yep. I think this is Dr. Quas. He plays Mundo enough.
Dr. Quas in medicine. Boy.
Wow.
Dr. Quas in medicine boy. Boom.
Why not? St.
Only
Vicious,
like
though,
one person's going to get that reference.
I got it.
Okay, 5 people.
We're just doing pity laughs now for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I get enough. I figure I can share them. Keen, though, honestly, the rest of his team, well in control. 3,000 gold up. Every move has worked out right here. The only really thing that's going well for Teammate is the fact that if they actually get into a real team fight, a real 5-on-5, I think it goes well for them. And Slushy, despite his deaths, is holding up in CS. So there are still elements here that can work for Teammate. I really do believe that.
Well, the big thing, too, is that all of the kills are focused on the top laner and the jungler here for Curse Academy, which are the lowest damage members of the team.
Yeah.
Like, that is where their gold is centralized from these team fights. Like, there isn't any bonus gold on Teammate's side. And the fact that the Dragons have been going over to Curse Academy is saying that the gold is spread out, but it's on those guys mostly. If it was on Keen, if it was on Impactful, then it'd definitely be this composition getting off the ground even further. Right now, it's kind of, all right, we have a Lulu, so our utility is a little stronger. St. Vicious, okay, so our early game is a little stronger, but they have to capitalize even further off of it.
Completely agree. We're going to see if they can actually do that here. You're seeing down the line of the actual matchups.
Yeah. Maple's actually ahead.
Right. Like, you know, and it's a 300 gold difference in the mid lane. Like, it doesn't even matter really here unless you hit an actual like death cap combined breakpoint. So Teammate in actual team fights really could hold on here. Keep that in mind.
Oh, but here's the bonus gold showing up
No
to the top
safe
lane.
there. He's like, that was a ward. Someone's here. Who could be invisible in the jungle?
Man, this question. Teammate needs to go to the academy because they keep getting it wrong.
St. Vicious kills with a white.
Collapse
Curse Academy. Yeah. And this is the team. Like, Curse Academy, I think, are making such good shot calls in this game. They're actually doing things and getting ahead for it. Top lane outer turret's going to go down. They're going to miss gold if they... Okay, Chris has got this. I mean, he'll get it eventually, right?
It is a yordle fart away from falling over.
Those heal you. Uh-oh, Shockwave does not hit anything. I think it was spell shielded by Porpoise Pops, but he's still going to go down to St. Vicious. Low health Orianna on the revive. Maple Street deals some decent damage, but it's still a 1-for-0. Zigzag comes in. They can nearly get impactful. The bubble gets dodged away from Time Bomb onto Dodo. And now Chris a little bit blocked off, but Cali Trolls forced away from the fight. Still, they want the chase flash forced in, and there's the chase. Lucy knocks them back in. Curse Academy are out of mana, but there's just not enough damage coming through from Teammate.
It gets away with the speed up from Bunny Fufu to avoid even more of that explosive minefield, and that's going to reward Teammate with a blue buff, but they did lose Porpoise Pops.
They're rewarded with their own blue buff. Like, not even really a reward for losing a team fight. But
they defend their blue buff.
That's at least good, but it's still another kill going over to Curse Academy. Chris and St. Vicious now sharing at 3 apiece. And this will be a dead dragon as well. Maple? I don't think so. Could have Ard, just to try.
There wasn't actually a smite from St. Vicious there. He didn't go for it. He just used it now on the blue.
See? Would have worked for Maple.
Boom. But at the same time, they're going to push down this mid lane, try to get themselves another turret in this game.
Chris is in the air. He's going to look for the slow on a Maple Street here. Could get some decent
straight
damage
up to
afterwards.
him.
Wow, so much damage. One hit from Dead, forced to ulti, but a great shockwave onto 3. Can Keen get more? Not really.
And at the same time, Cali Trolls, he's pushing top. Teammate is going with the teamfight comp, but they're splitting it up to get turrets.
And Keen! Call him Commander there, taking a kill. Trades one back, though. Now in on Porpoise down he goes. Slushy knocked into the wall. Lots of kills come in.
Oh, but the TP behind Maple Street.
That is a pretty dead Kog'Maw. Dragon Trainer Lulu going to take down the Monarch. King Maple Street dies. Some laughter by Chris, he knew.
And Cali Troll still hidden away at this turret, chunking it down. He gets it.
All right, well, Teammate, to be completely fair, we haven't been watching it much, but they are up currently 3-1 in turrets, but they've overstayed for a few of these. Curse Academy will be able to answer back. Already at 4,000 gold. This will make it closer to 5.
And they did get some gold onto Impactful there for this team. Saint still 4-0 and 3 for himself. He's doing really well, and so is Chris. So these are the guys who have these early game leads. But what do they do with it? They are assisting the team. That shockwave, so good. Chris gets out so that he can TP back into this fight. They take the turret, but ooh, just Keen. Keen is making some plays. He ends up getting taken out. The turret goes down, but now Impactful uses the Buster Shot and finishes Slushy. He tries to jump away. He gets actually Clay Pigeoned there. Mid-jump. Oh, but here's Chris. Weren't you just 100 HP?
Yeah.
And he comes back.
You know, I just realized something. It's actually rehashed the pun I just made, but it actually makes a whole lot of sense.
Digging up an old pun?
Yeah. Why Keen is so good as Orianna. You ever play Commander Keen?
No.
It's a great platform from like the early 90s. And yeah, some of you guys got that right now. All of Orianna's spells, except for her passive, is like Command Attack, Command Dissonance, Commander Keen. Just saying. And now everyone gets it and groans. It's perfect.
And you have to explain the joke.
Whatever, you're just not old enough to get it. That's what I get for being 10 years older than the average league player. Teammate running away now. Dodo gets shockwaved in, puts the tidal wave down, but goes and dies to Keen.
Pick onto Dodo there, and the rest of the team just still split up. So Keen is becoming pretty big for his team in terms of catches. His shockwaves have been good this game.
Yeah, honestly, he missed a couple in the very beginning of game 1, but right now it's been on point.
In this game.
Yeah.
I just thought about it.
But you miss all the shots you don't take. And they miss some of the ones you do. So.
Miss all the ones you don't take.
Yeah.
So I thought about
never get CC'd if you don't
every second he has his shockwave up and he doesn't use it.
Wow.
He's missing a shockwave.
He missed like 7 million shockwaves in his lifetime as an Orianna player.
It's a great stat. We should have that stat.
Number of shockwaves missed. 0.001 hit percentage.
And then there'll be that one guy who has 0.002. and you're just like, he's a god!
He just leaves it on cooldown more often, so it doesn't keep tracking up.
Come here, Wraiths, every time.
That's a 4-for-1 right there. Slushy, got him just in time.
He's in the shop.
Yeah, he took a couple seconds to get away from that one. Half HP now, Slushy running away from the Evelynn. 4-0-4, St. Vicious. Of course, it makes sense. He's invisible. Of course, he can't be found.
Yeah. He just caught Slushy when he was in his money pouch. That's not good. He's counting.
I feel like Ziggs isn't good at counting.
Quick. How many bombs did he throw down in Explosive Minefield?
11, I believe. Corvus pops, knock up onto St. Vicious. Can they take him down? He's pretty tanky,
Here's
though.
Cali.
Pops the ulti, in comes Calitrolls, roots him in place. Do they have enough? Of course, Bunny Fufu can always revive him, and here comes Impactful. Hastes him back in. Saint wants this. Shockwave is up right now. But they go to the minefield. The ulti comes in. Bunny Fufu owns the wrong guy, and Keen could go down. 2 for 0. Keen could likely fall. He tries to hold on. He cannot do it, though. After the ulti time's out, Bunny goes down as well. 4 for 1, out for Baron.
They're going to go straight for this Baron. Chris does not have TP. Maple Street is trying to stop him from backing, and he's just clearing this wave out. They can't do this Baron, though.
They're missing Ziggs and Kog'Maw. They're like, you know what? Let's push mid instead.
Yeah, why not? They're just going to clear this out. Dragon has a minute on it, so if they push up to this turret, they still don't have enough damage between these 3 champions to actually take it down, so they just get some wave clear and gold off of it.
But it gives you time to recall back, buy items off the team fight, get new wards down, and be ready for Dragon. So this is okay for teammate.
So remember when I said what Slushy likes to do with Ziggs is just throw everything at once. He uses it kind of as a burst mage. He does that here. He doesn't land one of his abilities, but he throws all of them in. They re-engage here. They overcommit, and here comes the burst. Explosive Minefield, boom, everything. He actually hits St. Vicious with the tag of it. And man, Calitrolls going straight in, and Bunny Fufu not ulting the right person was really big there. The fact that even if he did get that ultimate off, they would have collapsed on him, but they might have been able to pick up more kills.
I think Saint would have at least survived. He was the guy I think he wanted to hit, and they would have survived against the Nocturne dive, and Bunny Fufu died regardless, so bit of a mistake there, but it is still a 3,500 gold lead for Curse Academy. One bad team fight does not always lose you a game, and this is the case here.
Yeah, and the fact that Chris wasn't a part of that fight, he is the big utility top laner, and he actually has a lot of gold funneled onto him. There's a lot of gold that was not present in that fight. So
keep this all in mind then, as teammate groups up for Dragon. But
they
spot St. Vicious, they pulled him back in. He's got nowhere to go, tries to run for the team. Chris is there, makes him gigantic, and the battle has begun. Saint gets revived, but there's the burst coming in. Chris is down. Now the chase on a Keen Impactful tries to kite away as Saint falls over. This could be the third. The dive back on in. Can Porpoise do it? It's 3 kills picked up, and Impactful forced to run. And that front line not tanky enough.
Maple, he's been clearing the mid lane after the middle of that fight, and they're going to go straight for this Baron.
Perfect choice by teammate. Clear the minions, push them away, use them for vision control, and then take the big objective. This could be teammate's Baron cleanly here.
It also stops Curse Academy from counter pushing and getting that mid lane turret for themselves fast.
Exactly. It gets rid of some of the counterattack potential here. It will be impactful and Bunny Fufu taking Dragon potentially, but this is definitely an uncontested Dragon for teammate. Earned off that great team fight, earned off of catching St. Vicious out on the flank. And now even Impactful won't get Dragon. Calitrolls teleports in to say, get away from here.
Yeah, there's my Dragon.
Inverse Scorpion. Get away from here! It's like a fan that comes out instead of a
what? A harpoon?
Yeah, a harpoon I think it is. Spear of some sort. I actually don't know my Mortal Kombat lore that well. I'm sorry, guys.
It's kind of alive, too. I'm just remembering the movie. Anyway. Anyway. They go for the Dragon. They get the Dragon. They get the Baron. Now teammate has one of their first gold leads of this game, considering they were down 5-0 at the start. They start basically the team that loses early is ending up winning later in the game.
Well, you heard in the preview, Chris Academy said teammate's kind of like a solo queue team. Lose lane, win game. Boom.
Yeah, St. Vicious, he got caught out. All the utility is blown on Saint here, and then the Shockwave only hits Porpoise Pops. It doesn't hit any other high priority members, and he's going a little tankier this game. And at this point, they collapse on Keen. Impactful is actually a secondary target to them. Calitrolls just has his Twisted Advance up again. He has enough time to cycle through those cooldowns to get it back up to finish that kill. And now they're pressuring this mid lane turret with their Baron buff.
And it's going to be going down, and teammate finally, for I think the first time basically all game, hold more than a 1,000 gold lead here, finally making it happen. As they keep scaling on up, I don't know if Curse Academy can really play the Hope Impactful does well game. The tank line's actually strong now for Team 8.
Yeah, the fact they put more pressure on different lanes this game helped them out throughout this mid game. And also the fact that the gold that we talked about was on St. Vicious and Chris. It wasn't on Impactful. He didn't get to the point where he's chunking people down already, because he could be up a Last Whisper if the gold was funneled onto him at this point.
That's true. Yeah, it's a bunch of gold that didn't go necessarily to the right people. We said it was the Keen and Impactful show. They didn't get any of the early kills, despite all the ganks mid. Saint got all the last hits against Slushie. It means that you just don't have the damage output right now that these guys need.
And that's not necessarily a misplay by Curse Academy. It's just unfortunate happenstance.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can guarantee the kill goes over. I don't remember the ganks that well, so I actually couldn't tell you for sure.
Sometimes yes, but sometimes they escape.
Yeah.
You leave it. We've seen too many of those.
That one awesome shockwave by Keen in the mid lane,
yeah,
that was so cool. That one could have been guaranteed for Keen, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, largely it usually doesn't matter too much. It's a 150 gold difference. It's not that massive.
And I always think about that. Like, I usually don't draw attention to where the gold is on a team, but when there's an Evelynn on the team, I always think about it, because when I'm like a jungler main, whenever I'm playing against an Evelynn and they get fed, I'm kind of like, it's not a huge deal. Because typically Evelynn builds, now you get 1 or 2 items offensive, then you just go flat out tanky afterwards.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, she's going to be a little tankier, but I can avoid her. She's not somebody that I have to focus on.
Right, and you saw it in the prior pre-Dragon fight, basically. Teammate caught her alone, and she had to tank basically every important cooldown from Curse Academy to stay alive. Like, tank Evelynn still died, so you can see how some of that gold doesn't always matter here. Teammate gonna push up in this top lane here, though, and that is another turret going down. Teammate using this Baron to get rid of every single Tier 1 and Tier 2 turret, push that gold lead to 3,500, and they've still got great ward coverage in the jungle.
Keen, he's looking off on the side to possibly get a shockwave and clear this wave out. The siege begins. They have the Kog'Maw. They have the great wave clear of Slushie, which is something they didn't have. This is the exact same composition for Team 8, except they have a Ziggs instead of the Yasuo, which was banned previously.
And honestly, I love the fact they've done that. I think unless you do their full hardcore Gragas Yasuo comp, where they just reach a backliner out of nowhere, I think Slushie's misplaced by not playing a backline reacher. Because Curse Academy is repeatedly concerned with Keen and Impactful dealing the damage in fights, getting backline reach makes Slushie useful and forces the retreat of Curse Academy.
Yeah, he's definitely best suited to that in these compositions and their play style as it stands. Look at that, Maple caught out of position.
He's flashing away, trying to get out, but there's a great shockwave, 1 kill picked up. This could be really bad for Team 8. Keen tries to get away, good flash.
Oh,
they go back onto Bunny Fufu, who did not see that coming, and Curse Academy lose that fight.
That was a great Mega Inferno Bomb there from Slushie, and that's why you ban away his Ziggs too.
Yep.
He just draws way too many bans. I talked about how Maple Street's usually always going to get either Kog'Maw or Tristana, because you ban towards Slushie and you ban towards Cali Trolls.
He hasn't gotten Nidalee the entire series. Might be for good reason, but however, it does leave Slushie with his Ziggs right now. Makes life painful. Forbus pops, blocks the explosive shot with a spell shield, and this will be a dead inhibitor despite losing their AD carry. Impactful just does not have a big enough front line to do anything about this. Chris lost Mundo, and suddenly Saint's not a big enough front line, right? The Nunu was there as well. Like, those two bans, I believe, yeah, because Mundo got banned. Yeah, those two bans ruined Curse Academy's team comp.
Yeah, and they tried to go with the same strategy again. And they basically have a pseudo tank here in St. Vicious. They blow up Maple Street, but Slushie comes to save the day here. They're all in that area, hits 4 of them. Chunks them out. St. Vicious eventually gets blown up by a satchel charge. He doesn't even care about using that thing as a retreat item. He's like, I'm just going to throw this at people for damage, and you've seen him do it pretty much every time.
Well, it's named Satchel Charge, not Satchel Retreat, so of course.
Yeah, and he flips people into his team constantly.
Yeah. He's been really good at Ziggs. Like, we talked about, hey, pick a ban phase from game 1. Well, pick a ban phase from game 2. His teammate, do the same thing you've been doing. You've removed this Curse Academy team comp from working effectively. Same side, though, drop the Ziggs.
And I talked with Cali Trolls before, and he said if it's a best of 3, they might lose. But they're very confident that it's a best of 5, because Team 8 has always had trouble in champion selects. Like, that's the reason they got knocked out in the round of 20 by Necrophantation before. Yeah. Because they did a pick ban phase very poorly against Azingi's team. Right. It's like you play Azingi and you play only Rengar, and you're like, well, we're going to ban this and this. It's like, but wait, they have these other champions too. Yeah. So when you get into a situation like that where your pick and ban phase isn't 100%, because they have a very unique pick and ban phase that revolves around Cali Trolls and Slushie. Like, Cali Trolls is going to first pick something for himself that's powerful.
Yep.
But they're very predictable in that regard. But they can't always predict their opponents.
Thankfully, they're learning throughout this series, and the bans they put out worked great. Even though Chris started the game out 3 kills, 0 deaths, has had a pretty diminished performance since then. High cooldown reduction. But Lulu still just is not putting out the damage that his team seems to need, and they can't get rid of the front line of Calitros and Porpoise Pops. Lizard Elder into tank, I think, is a great build on Nocturne. He's doing just fine. They just kind of march forward as a pair and say, yep, run away from us, run away from us.
They're shoving mid.
Damage. And there's the forced engage. Can they knock down Chris? His flash is on cooldown.
Oh,
they veered him back into the team. There's the knock, but there's the tidal wave. Dodo secures the kill from across the map.
Drowned her in a saltwater bath.
And now this could be Game 2 going to teammate. They are right on the front door. Curse Academy must defend 4v5. In come the minions. Turret number 1 taking a whole bunch of damage. And can Keen get in?
Oh,
there's
Bunny.
The flank from Saint. 1 turret down. Bunny revives. Shockwave flashed away from nothing from Keen. Bunny still retreating. Still the 5v4. Calitros losing a lot of health. Catches the Mikhails though. Turret number 2 goes down. Keen gets rooted in place. There's the kill. Impactful forced to heal. And now on to the next. St. Vicious runs away with a bomb behind him. But that will be game 2. And teammate tie up the best of 5.
1-to-1 coming back with the exact same team comp, except instead of Yasuo, they pick up the Ziggs for Slushy, and I'm pretty sure he decimated in terms of damage there. His AoE team fight, his contribution was incredible. It was through the roof. And I think that pick made the world of difference and where they put their jungle ganks early.
Yeah, honestly, it worked a whole lot better. The team comp, I think, was the biggest priority there. And you saw, actually, how much emphasis Curse Academy put on a Slushy back in Game 1. Banned the Ziggs, first picked Orianna, basically forced him to play that Yasuo and said, really not that scary. This time around, not getting to first pick and to get the ban in there. They leave the Ziggs up. You can see how scary that was. I think we go back to seeing Curse Academy remove the Ziggs and steal the Orianna away and push Lucy down.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they should end up doing for themselves. Put a ban on the Ziggs because they did it in Game 1. It worked out for them. Game 2, it looked like they thought they could deal with it, and it got through. They pick it up for themselves, and he just has an amazing game on it. And I talked about like the jungle ganks early. It was really Saint who had all the jungle ganks early. Porpoise Pops didn't do a whole lot. No. Then they waited for the team fights. They waited for the parts where people grouped up, where Slushy would be able to affect multiple members. He got ganked a bunch early. We saw the shockwave back, and he still came out on top in terms of damage output.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting sort of trifecta of roles in the top lane, basically. There's the big duelists who create a lot of individual pressure, guys like Aurelia or champions like Nidalee. And even the Nasus we saw from Zion Spartan yesterday. I think those beat up the tanks like Maokai, who can't handle that 1v1, can't withstand the split push, and they lose turrets against that. Next to that are the utility top laners like Lulu, who actually don't do anything to the tank top laners, but also don't team fight as well as them. Now, they would crush the 1v1s. They hold up against these split pushers and then have better team fights. And so you kind of saw that there, where you had Maokai not able to do anything against the Mundo, who had a better team fight power. You saw Lulu just be useless against Maokai. And I think that's one thing to keep in mind in this matchup as well. And it's the fact that even though Curse Academy played that early game so darn well, the misstep from St. Vicious gave teammate that one team fight that opened the entire map up. And finally, when teammate had a lead, they knew how to play with it. Yeah. Which was much better than game 1.
And here's the thing, too, is both these games have been decided by a mid-game team fight. Yeah. Jen just started getting that team out of control when they won.
So we're going to see how good the mid-game team fights are in the rest of this series. For now, going to throw it over to Dash and Jat at the analyst desk for some more on that game by teammate.
Thanks, Freak. Jat, in the last segment, I asked you, how do you deal with the hyper carry?
Yep.
Well, it turns out Ziggs is the answer to that.
It's one of the answers. It's this strange thing, trying to figure it out. We were even talking about this before the day, because we were referencing TSM's like hypercarry thing that had Wild Turtle, where everyone that got close to him was just pushed around like this rocket that Wild Turtle was commanding. Yet everything that goes in creating that is a fairly squishy guy that can shield a single target. And when other teams were weak to the hypercarry strat, it's like these individual guys that go in and die again and again. But they're all this death ball as far as trying to move around. And if you just throw a bunch of bombs into the death ball and hit 5 people at a time, it falls apart really fast. Obviously, if they would have played a little bit better, it still could have worked if they would have spread out and done all those things. But the Ziggs play was on point.
Yeah, I think people's initial reaction when they see a hyper carry is we have to kill that person, right? So normally the instinct is, okay, go after that person, put all your damage into killing the Tristana. Well, the team is literally built for that. You know, we're going to, yes, go after our Tristana. We'll just shield them up and he'll live through it. Instead, they adapted and they went for everyone else who is not... wasn't concerned with protecting themselves.
You have this strange mental thing that goes on when you're just like, they're going to target Trist. Let's all go help him.
Yeah.
And then you all group up and get hit by Ziggs. But yeah, that really was only a small part of how they're able to finish the game so quickly because there was still a lot of control throughout.
Curse Academy, though, they got ahead early.
Yes.
Right? And so this is it. Last game, they had to come from behind with that hyper carry and win. But this time they got ahead early, so we're going to actually pull up a replay here about 14 minutes in, 3-for-0 in the bot lane, just to kind of see how they got themselves set up with a fairly substantial gold lead.
Yeah, and let's just start rolling this clip. You can see a teleport down right away from Lulu, and Chris puts himself in a whole world of trouble right off the bat, but it's because they were getting catches onto the people they wanted to on teammate and really just kind of baiting them all over the map. You can see how much confidence Curse Academy was playing with here. Impactful knew he had a Zillion ult, he knew he had Lulu and Aura behind him, so he was free to jump in, and the respect that teammate was giving them was huge because Slushie wasn't there, so they had no AoE. When he does come in, he gets taken down really quickly, and it looked like Curse Academy in complete control.
Well, and that's a very good example of the Trist comp, again, working the way it's supposed to.
They were all spread out.
Yeah, they were all spread out. He had even though he was low health, he kept getting shielded back up. So there was never that moment where teammate could really go in for the kill. And we only saw 2 kills there, but the third one came through when Nocturne saw that low health Trist, went for it. Trist had the ult, picked up a 3rd kill. So now they're ahead, right?
Yes.
And I guess the next question is, again, why couldn't they close it out? What happened?
Yeah, well, we have that next replay where the game completely turned. Zyrene even mentioned it, that both of these games turned during mid-game team fights, and honestly, when the other team gained a little bit of overconfidence and went one step too far. If we can actually pull that clip up right now, because this was St. Vicious really getting arrogant here. Let's just roll this play a little bit, because he had his flash up this entire time. He could have flashed over the wall, but he thought they were so strong that he was just going to walk out and save his flash and maybe even bait another fight. Now remember, at this point, his ultimate is down, so extra shielding is gone from them. They do not have Lulu for the extra shielding as well, and they, as you can see, are funneling in to an incredibly small ball, and they get blown up by the Ziggs ult. Fantastic bubble by Dodo8, and very quick change of aggression in mind by teammate. Like, that's the type of team that teammate is. They will go in even when they've been losing the whole game if they see the right opportunity. They couldn't get Baron because they didn't have the damage there to do it, but the damage was done at that point. They'd gained their confidence back, and Curse Academy lost the momentum.
So it was the overconfidence, perhaps arrogance on the side of Curse Academy, because we saw St. Vicious get out. He chose to re-engage, so although he didn't blow his flash to get out, he didn't need to. He could have just left at that point. So that points to them being pretty bloodthirsty. The final thing I want to talk about going into the next game, now that we're evened up, both teams have had comeback wins.
Yeah.
Both teams have shown some aggression, sometimes over-aggression. Is this the point in the series where it's time to take a deep breath and just, play your own game, slow it down, and make sure you do things correctly and methodically when you do have that early lead?
I think there's a big chance we see a much more subdued game from these guys. They are both just played 2 games on the stage. They both kind of messed around with leads. They've been having nice comebacks. The picks and bans were remarkably similar from games 1 and 2, so I don't actually think we're going to see too many adjustments coming from both these guys. They've had winnable games on both sides, because the games that weren't really winnable, they ended up losing because we've seen 2 comebacks. I don't think we're going to see huge adjustments in picks and bans, maybe a little bit less aggression.
All right, well, we'll see if that gameplay changes after we take another quick break. And when we return, it's Game 3 between Curse Academy and Team 8. Don't go anywhere.
Call of Commander there, taking a kill. Trades one back, though. Now in on the reset. Down he goes. Slushie knocked into the wall.
Oh,
the minefield. The ulti comes in. Buddy Boo ults the wrong guy. And Keen could go down. Makes him gigantic, and the battle has begun. Saint gets revived. But then Submerge coming in. Chris is down. Great shockwave. 1 kill picked up. This could be really bad for teammate. Keen tries to get away. Good flash wall. They go back onto Bunny Fufu, who did not see that coming.